AIT Studios in Abuja, Nigeria, this is the O&M Sunday Show with Obiora Ilo and Mamode Akuga.
Hello there. Thanks and welcome to the O&M Sunday Show. Well, I'm glad you've become a member of the family, so I welcome those old members of the family and I welcome those that are joining the family just today. Welcome to the O&M Late Show. And I want to start with a very, very cheering news. Do you know that the HBL app is on the Apple Store and it's also on the Google Play Store? You know what that means? You don't have to do so much. All you need to do is to go to any of these stores and just put HBL News. You can watch this program, watch our old programs, and be able to get breaking news as they break anywhere in the world. Well, we talk about that, Mamode, as we go on. I'm Obiora Ilo, and Mamode is here.
Thank you so much, Obiora. It's a wonderful Sunday afternoon, and quite a lot of things to talk about in Nigeria. We have the dailies here, and several issues making the headlines that we're going to talk about. But, you know, the last 1 week, last 2 weeks, you know, Obiora, I've just been watching, seeing the spate of appointments, you know, that are ongoing, the firing and the hiring by the president. Good luck, Jonathan government. And, you know, Obiora, I'm saying to myself, you know, I can't understand these PDP guys, really. And I can't understand the president. I mean, you are one leg out of government, and then you are firing people. It's like a revenge mission to me. I don't get it.
Well, you know, one thing we do here, our primary objective is Nigeria. We are not interested in the party. So when we come here every Sunday afternoon or Friday or Tuesday night, we want to say the way it is. Last week we talked about what we felt was APC overreaching itself and not allowing the president to just finish his tenure and all that. Today we are concerned about the hirings, about the firings that the presidency is engaging in. Why do they want to tie the new administration's hands behind their backs? We don't think that is right. And again, there are some key positions that, or key establishments that this new president has to work with. Like the appointment we had at the SEC. A very key area that the president needs to have someone who believes in his own vision and all that. So we are thinking that we have to put a stop to these appointments. If there's an emergency, if there's something that cannot wait, it's understandable.
Obiora,
appointing chancellors
Obiora, everything can wait. I mean, it's not, government is not by accident. There are several steps down the line. If A is not available, B will be available to do the function of A. If B is not available, C will be available. The steps are there. So there are people who can fill in the gaps. Even if somebody has to retire today from the civil service or has to leave any of the government agencies or what have you, there are 2, 3 other people in those agencies that can act for the next 3 weeks or for the next 4 weeks until, or 2, 3 months even, until a new government comes in and settles down. You know, these appointments, and you know, I don't want to see the situation that makes us look like a banana republic. You know, you are going to see all these appointments now, chancellors of university, revered traditional rulers, all been appointed at the twilight of Jonathan's administration. And then the new administration comes in and, you know, in less than 1 month, fires all of them.
Or fire some of them.
Or fire some of them and reappoint.
It may not be understood.
Yes.
I mean, so we're just saying that, look, these appointments can wait. You know, there's no doubt that every Nigerian is proud of how the president has handled the transition, agreeing, conceding and all that. But let's not push it too far. Yes. I mean, the president is almost gone. Yeah. So he should allow in the incoming administration some freedom.
Yes.
To choose people they will work with for the next 4 years.
And then don't prematurely kill the careers of some of these people who are appointed now, and the new government comes and they just fire them and they're out of the system forever. So, but you talked about being proud of what President Jonathan did by conceding victory. I am
and providing some of the facilities that the new president is working with.
I'm also proud of both the president and the incoming president-elect.
Oh, yes.
For one major reason today. I'm proud of the two of them. Somehow, they found a common ground to make Nigeria the interest.
Yes, matter.
Yes. Now, I mean, it's in all the dailies. Sunday Vanguard has it on its front page. The African Development Bank, the current Minister of Agriculture,
is being put forward.
Yes, he wants to contest as president of the bank, and you can see that there's synergy. Between President Jonathan and the president-elect. Akinwumi is a loyalist of President Jonathan, a current minister in this government, and already Buhari is sending an emissary in the person of Atiku to South Africa to lobby the president of South Africa, Zuma, to ensure that Nigeria, additional, clinches the presidency of the African Development Bank. For me, I'm proud of the two of them. The interest here is Nigeria.
And
I've
been reading a lot in the social media. Some people say, oh no, why should APC be doing that? This is not an APC thing. This is a Nigerian thing. Yeah. If Akinwumi becomes the president, he's going to serve Nigeria well, whether you're APC, whether you're PDP, whether you're APGA, and all
whatever.
that. And I join Mamode in congratulating both of them, because what it shows us is that all those backside meetings they've been having, it's possible that in one of those meetings, this came up, and the president says, look, this is very important to us, and this is how far we have gone. So and the other man says, okay, I'll take it from there. Yes. So, I mean, a lot has happened in this transition that we have to be proud of.
Nigeria is winning.
I'm telling you.
Nigeria is winning.
I'm telling you.
After God, anyway, according to that song, God win.
Mamode.
I think Nigeria is winning
Mamode, war in the PDP.
Oh, my God.
As Muazu battles presidency governors. Let me hear what this, and this is from The Nation.
Yes.
What is this they say?
But these days, the front page says, Muazu fights back as plot to unseat him thickens. It's basically in all the papers.
Oh, yes.
The Vanguard says, Jonathan's men plotting to split PDP leadership. PDP leadership alleges. So in all the papers is there, the fight in PDP. I think there's a battle going on for the soul of PDP. Well, who takes control?
Muazu said, look, all this use and dump is not going to work with me. He said, we've had about how many PDP chairmen? You just use them and dump them. Our constitution, our regulations are clear on this. Our mandate expires at so and so time. Yes. So all these people angling for, disbandment of the NWC, the sack of the chairman of the party, Muazu says it's not going to happen, because they have been saying, the NWC is saying, we have no hand in the president losing the election. You had a presidential committee. They did everything. You remember when Olisa Metu was there, Olisa said, as national publicity of the PDP, I never got a dime from the presidential committee as the elections went on.
I think what's going on, Obiora, is that there's a fight between the Jonathan camp and those who are the actual members of, leadership of the PDP. Because you could also see some of the headlines saying that PDP wants Jonathan's aides to stay clear of the party, and Muazu saying very emphatically that he won't resign. But the Muazu thing, the Muazu thing, I think it's a moral burden on him because of the way this has happened. I mean, in other climes, in more developed democracies, we do not need to ask him to relinquish position for a fresh start.
No, but Muazu is saying that the president losing the election was not a fault of the NWC.
It doesn't matter whose fault it is. The buck stops somewhere. Who was in charge of the party when this disaster happened to PDP?
But the president chooses, members of his committee.
You take responsibilities. Are you saying that the party was not involved in the elections? So you take responsibility, really.
No, I'm just trying to bring up what Muazu is saying.
What Muazu
the NWC is saying. They are saying that it's not our fault. If we are going to go, then everybody goes.
People who are actually saying, you know, he should go are not saying that there's a PDP constitutional, it's not a PDP constitutional matter that he should leave. It's a moral thing. It's a moral burden on him. Look, you have led the party to some kind of disaster.
But Mahmoud, are we not turning the PDP into the Super Eagles, where you lose a competition, then the coach has to go?
It's
a
leadership. Well, enough of all this PDP, APC, so much talk about Nigeria. Well, so much is going on. Today we are going to be continuing our talk on politics in Nigeria. We are watching with very keen interest what is happening with the zoning of positions. Remember, of course, Nigeria has a constitutional requirement that in the appointments of positions, federal character must be respected. So we're watching the APC to see how they are going to zone the positions. Already they seem to be in some kind of quagmire over that. They're not able to put their feet on the ground firmly to say, we have taken a decision, this is what. And they are allowing time pass, and that will be the same mistake President Jonathan made in 2011 when he didn't take a definite position on the zoning until, you know, when the candidate had gone around, talked to so many people, and had a lot of commitment already. And eventually the president lost leadership of the House of Representatives. And from that day, he started losing his presidency.
Well,
so the APC needs to buckle up.
They need to get their act together. Yes. And of course, like the Punch said this morning, new senators, reps demand juicy committee positions. You know, it's a period of lobbying. So the APC has to come out clear on what they want to do. Of course, some people are saying that the Southwest wants everything. They want everything. They want the vice presidency. They want the speakership.
No, so I don't think they have the vice presidency. Be clear about it. They want other positions. They already have the vice presidency.
Yeah. So the APC has to come out with a definite roadmap on how this can be done.
Yes.
And I think that's why we have invited one of the very powerful members of the House of Representatives. He's a ranking member.
Yes.
He was former secretary to the government of Edo State, former deputy speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly, former
two-time chairman of local government, chairman of Algon in Edo State, national vice
chairman. He needs to tell us how the lobbying is going on.
Yes. So
and what are the considerations at the National Assembly.
Exactly.
I'm sure that our cameras will be showing Honorable Pali Iriase, who is of the House of Representatives. He's already in the studio. Yes. Later on,
joining us from Abia State.
Yes, from Abia State, joining us later to talk about whether there's a stolen mandate in Abia State or not, because that's what Oti is saying. Oti said his governorship had been stolen by the PDP and all that. So Dr. Abazuare, who is Commissioner for Information in Abia State and a consultant to the gubernatorial campaign organization in Abia State, will be joining us later in the program. Of course, the fuel issues and all that, so he's still on his way, flying in from Abia State.
All right, we'll just take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll start discussions on politics in Nigeria. Don't go away.
And I've lost who I am, and I can't understand why my heart is so broken, rejecting your love without love gone wrong. My first words carry on, but I know, all I know is that the ends begin with who I am. From the start, take me home to my heart, let me go, and I will.
It's still the O&M Sunday Show, and now we get down to brass tacks. Joining us for our first interview now, Honorable Pali Iriase, former secretary to the Edo State government and current member of Nigeria's House of Representatives.
Honorable, you're welcome.
Honorable Pali, welcome. Sit, please.
You know, growing up, when this my pal, crept into the dictionary of spoken English, so you said something like, "Oh, that's my pally," Yeah. Did you actually drew the line who was really your pally or who was just calling your name?
When I was growing up, or when I was born, I was too young to know what that meant. But growing into that name, I found that it's all about friendship.
So everyone calls you
friend-
pally.
Yeah.
But you won't know who is close to you and who is just calling a name. Like Mamode says pally, I know Mamode is, has a close relationship with
Yes.
you. But if any other guy says pally, does it convey the same meaning?
Yeah, it resonates with me because it conveys that friendship, that spirit of camaraderie between you and that
Has
friend.
it helped your politics, the name?
Oh, of course it has, tremendously.
So they just say pally, my pally,
Yeah,
our pally.
And it says like,
Let's talk business.
All right. So, Honorable,
yes,
your party seems to be playing the same deadly game that the PDP played in 2011. Indecision. They were not able to decide on time who they wanted as Speaker of the House of Representatives. Eventually, the president's candidate lost out, and things started going down south for the president from there. Your party now is having, last 2 weeks, newspapers have been awash with the zoning formula for APC, the zoning, the president of Senate, speaker, and all that. Why are you guys not able to get it together?
well, I wished that we were courageous enough to zone these things before the election. Having not done that, you got a situation in your hand where you are now to lead this country for the next 4 years against the backdrop of the constitutional provision. Now that we've won, everybody is a bit relaxed, everybody is excited, and everybody wants his or her her interest to predominate, to prevail.
Yes.
But that is politics for you. Everybody wants to get what is possible.
It's about
Now,
interests.
in the process, I think the smartest thing that has been done so far is to ask that they should apply the brakes. That, let's, tread softly. Having not done it before the election, let us bring everything on the table and look at it holistically against the backdrop of the need for an inclusive government, the need for respect for the Constitution. And I think this is what is playing in the minds of our leaders in APC. And I wish them well, and I hope that justice and fairness will prevail, and we will not have in our hand the kind of situation that really put PDP in a serious mess, which eventually came to a head when they lost control of the House and well, so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah, but it was good for the institution of the legislature, though, and I was an opposition member then, and we enjoyed it, but we wouldn't wish it for our party.
Honorable, I will just ask you a question we've tried to ask so many people coming
Yes,
here.
yes.
But I wish you would give us a very sincere answer. The Constitution says federal character, a lot of parties, everything you do, you need to zone.
Yeah.
Is there no possibility that zoning sometimes may not give us the best like you have 300 and something people in the House of Assembly with different qualifications, capacities, and what have you. But when you start zoning and all that, do you think sometimes it does not rob our country of the best materials, the best hands, you know, the enthusiastic people, people that are really willing, wanting the position? Because sometimes you bring somebody that's not interested in the position. You've been there. So do you think, does it worry you? Do you think the same way some people are thinking?
Yeah, it's there is no cut and dry position. You wish for the ideal, but the ideal may not always be achievable. You should be pragmatic enough to know that in Nigeria, the tendencies are so diverse that unless you find a way of accommodating as much of those tendencies as possible, then you have in your hand, you know, a situation that will not make for unity, loyalty, and inclusiveness in government. It should not be thought by anybody that a particular zone or there's a particular zone that does not have good hands. So the fact that you're looking for very good hands does not necessarily negate the need for zoning. Because when you do zone, you then look, you focus on that zone, you are most likely to find the best that you seek. But if you say no, it's not going to be like that, let's leave it the way it is, you find that, say, take for instance the House of Rep. Representation is not equal, zone by zone. There are zones that are very high in numbers. There are zones that are not so high. And we have to be there together to represent our people, diverse interests. So if you go ahead and say, look, there's no need for zoning, you might end up with a situation of winner takes it all. And it won't be the best. It will have, you know, consequences that are not exactly palatable. So much as we want the ideal, we need to grow into that nation state that will enable us to say, look, we don't care where you come from. But you cannot say as at today, for now, that it really doesn't matter in Nigeria where you come from. It does matter. People, first and foremost, realize that they are from so-so tribe, so-so zone, so-so state before they were Nigerians. We pray that we sooner than later get there, where you have that patriotic.
Well, the important thing is being Nigerian.
Being Nigerian, and then you go ahead and say yes, irrespective, wherever you may come from.
But Honorable, this phenomenon you talk about, you know, winner takes all. From what we are seeing, the permutations and what is, you know, published in the newspapers the last 2-3 weeks about the possible zoning of APC. You know, does it not appear to you that even your party is going to end up with the winner takes all? Because from what is coming out in the papers, 2 zones are, you know, almost out of contention completely. But though there are politicians who will say, by your votes, you know, we now compensate you. And because the South-South and the Southeast did not really vote massively for the APC, could that be why, even when the zoning is being put together now, it looks as if you're out of contention?
I pray not, because the specific question you want me to answer is whether my party will not run into that quagmire.
Yes,
or that
exactly.
cul-de-sac. I pray not, because I believe that there are thinkers and there are nationalists in the leadership of APC to ensure that this does not happen. The reason I say this is that both on May 29th and when eventually the House is inaugurated, we will all be made to swear that we will defend
and uphold the
and
Constitution.
uphold the Constitution. Now, the Constitution in section 14, subsection 3 is very clear on federal character. And it does not expect, in fact, what is enunciated there is that no section of the country will be allowed to predominate, and that this is to engender loyalty and unity. In our own case, that will make for inclusiveness in the governance of Nigeria. Now, this is the first time an opposition party has upstaged the ruling party after 16 years. And Nigerians should be given the benefit of testing what the opposition party that has become the government party can offer. And the only way you can do that is not to touch power and find yourself driven away by the electorate so soon. I do not wish it for my party. Now, we need to look at the Constitution which we are all swearing to uphold and defend. Section 40, subsection 3 is key to whatever we are doing. You know, whatever schemings, whatever interests that anybody may have, this must be subjugated to the provision of section 40, subsection 3, the federal character. And if you must do federal character, you got to zone. And in zoning, with the mind towards federal character, you have 6 zones, 6 geopolitical zones. From down south, you have southwest, south-south, and southeast. Up north, you have north central, northeast, and northwest. 6 geopolitical zones. Now, my understanding of federal character means that if 2 out of these have been favored, and they are now president-elect and vice president-elect, respectively, for the northwest and northeast, I believe that justice and fairness demands that the contest for the next layer of elections, who becomes what in the National Assembly. You have President of Senate, and then Deputy President, you have Speaker of the House, and Deputy Speaker. These are 4. And then you have 4 other
positions.
Zones
that
are waiting. You throw a lot of you throw a lot of confusion into the game when any of those 2 that ought not to get priority on the queue for
the remaining position,
this other layer of positions, you know, kissing and says, look, I got to get the priority on the queue. That's the problem we're facing. And let no one be deceived. We need to face the reality of the situation.
What if the configuration of membership, the election results, the way it is, for instance, the Southeast has no senator?
Yes. Now,
that is
I was
APC
coming
member.
to that.
How are you going to? Yes.
I agree that, yes, like it was put by a writer the other day, there's an extenuating circumstance. The Southeast has not met the requirement of ranking as enshrined in the House rules. In the House orders and rules, standing orders and rules. Order 2, Rule 4 of the House says that you have to be an experienced member-elect by virtue of having been in the House, in the National Assembly. I think the Senate has a similar provision. So what that means is that you will not be blamed for that as a party, because there are other compensatory layers of positions that you can use to fill that gap. But wherever you can find, a member who qualifies and who is good enough for the position, you ought not to jettison the principle of federal character. This is where the matter is.
Let me ask, you are a serving member.
Yes.
And you're also going back.
Yes.
Tell us the kind, based on what's been happening, behind closed doors and what have you, Tell us the kind of man that the House of Representatives is looking at to lead it in the next 4 years. What kind of man are we looking for?
Both the serving and the incoming members are expecting that their leader, the speaker, must be a servant leader who will be acutely aware of the fact that he is only first among equals because they donated that to him through the Electoral College, comprising of the entire House. And that since we all came on the basis of one constituency apiece, you are only privileged to be given this position. What that then means is that you will be humble enough, calm-headed, and you will have the interest of the members and the institution of the legislature uppermost in your hand. And you must be a courageous leader. You must be a good mixer and a manager of resources in a transparent and orderly manner. Transparency is something that we need to work at. And members, both old and new, wish for an improvement along those lines. The Tambuwa regime in the House has done excellently well, but there's always a room for improvement, and that improvement will be largely on the side of transparency. You know, the incoming House wants a situation where if we preside over the budgeting process of the executive, why should we not also have an open budgetary system in the House of Reps, for instance, so that everybody knows ab initio, this is what came, this is what we are spending on, and this is, you know, what you can expect.
Honorable Party.
So there are a lot more.
We're talking about what the expectations are of who will be or who should become Speaker. I want to ask you a very direct question, pointedly. Do you want to be Speaker of the House of Representatives?
Of course. That is what has been there, and I am here, and I'm formally saying it, that I am gunning for the office of Speaker, and I believe and I trust that I'm eminently qualified to be.
Why do you think you will make a good Speaker?
Thank you very much. I think experience is key in all this. Your track record, your pedigree is what matters here. And for me, if you look back at my growth, dating back to when I was not yet in politics, I've had leadership experience both in the public and private sector. I tell you, I was the head of internal audit of the then Bender State University, Bensu, which is now two.
Yes,
at Delta State University and
Ambrose Ali
University. I was the head of internal audit. And while there, I served for a whole session as the chairman of heads of the Committee of Heads of Internal Audit in the entire Nigerian university system. Then I moved from there, I went into the banking industry. I was not only an award-winning manager over and over again, I resigned at the respectable level of assistant controller of the bank before I ventured into politics. Ever since I came into politics, my first point of call was the deputy speakership of the House of Assembly in Edo State. I was flattered when I read in the newspaper somebody going into archives and letting me know that I'm perhaps the only one who has survived 4 years unimpeached in the office of either speaker or deputy speaker in Edo State.
You didn't see the banana peels at all?
No, I never. Now, so, you know, I have that distinction. And again, we are talking about managing the House of co-equals. And I've done that successfully, for 4 years then. Then I moved on to become local government chairman. People say 2-term local government chairman because I was a transition chairman and eventually voted in elected chairman. It didn't just stop there. After that, all the chairmen in Edo State, came together in a well-contested election, and I emerged as the Argon chairman, by virtue of which I became a national vice president of Argon.
Okay.
And all this took yet another 4 years or thereabout. And one thing leading to another. Yours sincerely, took part in the political activities that led to Edo State moving from PDP to APC now. It used to be AC and ACN then. And, I played my role admirably, and eventually we had Governor Adams Oshomole coming in.
And you became secretary
I became secretary to the state government. And the blueprint for the irreversible development of Edo State was put together under my charge, under Governor.
That's a tall resume.
Now, I resigned after 2 years, voluntarily, because I wanted to play at the national level. And that is how
you found yourself in the House of
Well,
so when we talk about experience, people should talk about robust experience. We're talking about managing men and material and environment. And we must talk about how rich your pedigree is. Yeah, you may be very adept at filibustering and debates, but management is now key when you're talking about speakership
and leadership.
Okay,
Honorable Pali Iriase.
Yes.
Talking about this angle of it, yes. I mean, it's quite a tall resume, and sincerely, we need people with that kind of experience. But it's not our thing. Yeah. It's the thing of you and your
my colleagues,
and then your party.
Yeah.
So I think Mahmoud, we wish him all the best.
Yes.
Wish him all the best, and hope if that dream comes true, you'll be here again.
Yeah, I'll certainly be here because I want to run a very open House of Rep. So we'll be very courageous in tackling issues, and I'm really excited that the change mantra has to be turned into real working, principle of governance. Now everybody is already telling each other that General Buhari is a no-nonsense man when it comes to the issues of corruption and all that. He has zero tolerance. And I'm excited. And I'm talking about who better fits to work with such a person
Buhari, for instance, yes.
At the legislative level. And I consider that I have all it takes, considering my pedigree that you have just been taken through.
Thank you so much.
All right, we wish you all the best. But if you do become speaker.
When I become speaker.
When you become, okay, well, it's not if, it's when.
Yes. We'll hold you to account.
You will grant us your first public interview on this show if you do become speaker.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
And a little token from us.
Wow.
Which will stay at your table when you become speaker.
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm most grateful.
Thank you so much.
Yes. We'll take a break. And when we return, we have Dr. Abazwere, all the way from
Abia State.
Abia State,
yes.
to tell us about how the elections had gone, if there's a stolen mandate.
Or not.
Or not. Don't go away. Well, I agree with Honorable Uche Ekwunife. Let's work for Nigeria. Oh, distinguished senator-elect Ekwunife.
Yes.
Let's all go work for Nigeria. You're watching the O&M Sunday Show, and joining us now is Dr. Abwazware, Commissioner for Information Abia State, consultant to the gubernatorial campaign organization in Abia State. He's here with us.
Thank you very much.
Why are you copying me, Doctor? Why are you wearing white like I'm wearing?
It's from the south. It's from both of you.
Mahmoud,
Dr. Abwazware,
my pleasure. My pleasure.
You know one of the things that intrigued me, Dr. Abwazware.
Yes.
I remember somewhere in Enugu growing up, there was a particular guy who has 2 PhDs,
Yeah, okay.
and he chose to call himself Doctor so-and-so.
So that people will get to know.
People understand that they have to be.
Because
So-
it's not easy to get one.
So you, with a PhD
Yes.
in, you have a PhD in law,
Yes.
and then you have a PhD in
Political science.
in political science.
Yes.
Is it okay if we say doctor?
Just one doctor is okay.
Well, you're welcome to the O&M
Thank you very much.
Sunday Show.
You have been in the politics of Abia State forever. In the last 16 years, Dr. Abwazware, anytime you want to talk Abia State, you need some information or anything, is Dr. Abwazware. What's your staying power? What's responsible for the staying power you have? You continue to be very relevant. in
What's
the
your
state.
secret?
Well, the secret is if I am with you, I show that commitment. I don't waver. I am always there to give you the best. Not those who will be in your cabinet and they'll have their eyes some other place or their legs some other place. It's not good. You know, that is what most of the politicians do. And so I think that's the secret. And again, maybe again, like I talked about the service issue, my IQ may be appreciated by several people, and again, the quality of what I give out, they appreciate, and so they keep
They keep coming back to
yes. Before then, I was chairman of NLC in Abia for 7 years, and when Pascal's leadership was removed, there was a lull, a lacuna. Then along the line, I was elected at NTI in Kaduna, National Teachers Institute in Kaduna, as chairman of all state chairmen of NLC. State Councils Nigeria, and from there I had to, and that was of course the shoes of the NLC president, so I had to lead Nigerian workers delegation to ILO for the year that we resolved with ILO to accept receiving Nigerian workers again. That was in 1997, because from that 94 when the leadership of Pascal Bafiawu, that of NLC was dissolved, courtesy of Decree 9 of 1994. And that of Nupenga and Pengas dissolved courtesy of Decree 10 of December 1994. There was no representation again of Nigerian workers at ILO in Geneva, so until 97. So I led that delegation. So even before that 1999, when I started playing politics actively, I was in labor. And before then, I was also in the human rights world. I was national vice chairman to Dr. Baker Ransom Kuti in CD. For 3 years, so it's been a long journey.
So
the point
around.
is, these things are in the blood.
It's in your
Service.
DNA.
Let's take you
Thank you.
Abia.
to the contemporary issues in Abia.
Yes.
I remember that just before the runoff election, you joined us by telephone
Yes.
when we were talking about how we were getting ready for the runoff. And then after the election, INEC declared the candidate of PDP winner, but the ABGA candidate and the opposition are saying that their mandate was stolen, that in truth they won that election and they don't know what happened. As they say in Nigeria, maybe there was mago at a certain point. Tell us what the situation is. I mean, looking at it from the PDP point of view.
Well, thank you very much for raising that issue. For me, as far as I'm concerned, I'll start from this way. For any person who is grounded in law, who knows what the laws are talking about, you don't make a statement you cannot prove. If you say somebody stole your mandate, it's a criminal allegation. You are not only accusing that person, you're also even accusing INEC. And are you able to prove that? It becomes an issue. But let me say this, Obiora Mahmoud. If anybody stole any mandate or attempted to steal anything, it was the ABGA candidate who, when he heard that power was to be zoned to the Okwangwa area, now decided to declare his intention to be accepted as an indigene of Okwangwa. And you know that...
No, I don't understand that.
Yes,
he's not from Okwangwa.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's what played out in Abia. He said he's from Iselangwa South, where, you know, because, you know, the Arab people, they live anywhere. But he had built his house in Arochukwu, you know, and now was settling there, visiting this place. The moment he had the thing was coming to our place, he now said, declared that he was
no longer
from Arochukwu, but from Ungwa. Unfortunately for him, the party, the PDP, now zoned the thing no longer not just to Okwangwa, but to Abia South of Okwangwa. Meanwhile, where he was claiming is still Abia Central. So even from zoning, he made himself a defiant. You know, even
But
from zoning.
This zoning thing, did it play a part in the election?
It did.
In the vote?
It did. Because it was, in fact, for the first time, the Okwangwa people now will be made governor. And that's why everybody is grateful to Governor Theodoji, who started that thing, and then the PDP bought it. That remains also the first time a ruling party in the state would give an Okwangwa man ticket. All the other parties where the Okwangwa people had contested were just opposition parties. And so if anybody stole any mandate, it was the other candidate, that's Mr. Alex Oti. He doesn't have a PhD, so he should be called Mr. Alex Oti. Now, you see, and if you also watch the mode of voting, the place where he comes from, Arochukwu, gave him all the votes. He had 11,000 plus, and we had only 3,000. But in that same Iselangwa South, where he was claiming to say he's from his place now because of elections, you know, so that he would now take what belongs to us.
Are you from that area?
I'm from
Keep
there.
saying us.
Yes. From the same ward. We beat him at the ward level.
But is it not possible that one of his parents, maybe the mom or so, or I don't know, one of his parents could be from that part?
No, I think I could make this thing clearer for you. Yeah. Even in Nigerian constitution, in all constitutions of the world, even people who are Igbos or even Nigerians are also allowed to become citizens of other countries, including America. Yeah. So he's free to even be a citizen of our place. But if you only said that when something was coming to us, then you're a deceit. It's not right. If you had said that maybe 20 years ago or 30 years ago before this election.
So he didn't win support from...
He didn't even win at the ward level. We defeated him. The same word with me. We defeated at the ward level, at local government level. We also defeated him to show that he's not from there. And that's what our people did to prove to him that he's not from there. But where he came from, where he's from, Arochukwu, he won landslide. You know? So if anybody is talking about stealing, it is him that attempted to steal what belongs to the Okwangwa people.
But you know, sorry, Mamade.
Yes.
You know that besides Oti claiming that he's been robbed, candidates for other parties, for the National Assembly, for the House of Reps, for the Senate and all that, also claimed that they were winning on the day of the election until suddenly between the election night and morning, the whole thing turned and PDP won all the positions. You're also claiming that their mandate was stolen.
No. All the other people who are saying that kind of thing, the reasonable ones, kind of, because there are some of these mushroom parties, you don't take them serious, sort of. You can hear their voice, but they're not making any impact. The other ones are just maybe the other people that also belong to ABGA, who are also saying that kind of thing because they want to talk. And you know that. You will agree with me. That's why people are now celebrating Goodluck Jonathan. It is not everybody that will accept defeat. So that's what they are finding difficult. And that's what I am urging them to do. If you are defeated, accept. I tell you something.
No, but if you're defeated, transparently. If someone feels that he or she has been defeated in a way not very clear, not very constitutional, he has a right to say, I don't agree.
And that's what I am even telling you, that if there's any party that suffered in that election, it's the PDP. The soldiers turned against us. I said it. I did a petition on behalf of the Abia State government to the Chief of Army Staff about the conduct of some soldiers. I even called one of the superior officers in the course of these things. And then some actions were taken. I also petitioned even to the chairman of INEC against the conduct of the REC and returning officer. So it's just that God wanted to help us. We were the people, in fact, who were supposed to complain.
You were the underdog.
Yes, who were supposed to complain, because don't forget that Abia.
But you were the ruling government.
You are in government in Abia.
That's what I'm saying. Don't forget
that. How can you
that's what I'm saying.
The underdog?
No, don't forget, we were not like underdogs, sort of. They wanted to make us look like one. Don't forget that Abia has been PDP. And that Abia, PDP also has been on ground in Abia, apart from some of these sabotage, here and there. But let me also say this. When we defeated Alex Oti the first time, he said he wanted this issue of the first election on the 11th. Then there was another one on the 25th. He was campaigning that he was going to take the remaining votes during the supplementary elections. At the end of the day, we scored 264,713 votes when he only got 180,882 votes. And this second election, we also had a difference. We beat him again with 778 votes. Earlier, we had beaten him with 83,053 votes. The difference is always clear. We are the people on ground. So nobody stole his mandate.
Okay. Why is election in Abia always so contentious? Why?
I don't even think elections in Abia have been so contentious.
Oh, they have been. Your current governor went through here with Chief Oyema Ugochukwu, with all the tribunals and them. It was a long-drawn battle.
No, Mahmoud, when I said that, I'm not saying people will not go to court. I said what I said because if you look at states like Rivers State and some other places, you see that their own has been something funnier, than what experience that we have. So the point I'm making is that
there was a lot more violence reported.
Good, that side, yes.
Well, your side may not be violence per se.
Yes.
It's just, maybe it's more civilized.
More civilized, you can see. and this thing we also throw back to the governor. We give him all the credit. Even this issue of equity that is in place now in Abia, we also give Governor Theodore the credit. This is one humble man. You need to meet him, one humble man who radiates humility. If it were some other people, they would have done several things the way we were, the way we were being hounded.
But he had to come to INEC. He did something. He had to come to INEC to complain.
No. The time he came, that day, I was with him.
Because that was one of the things that the opposition accused your government of.
You see,
because it looked like settling INEC.
No, I will tell you something. There was a problem on ground that day. If you make calls, ask your correspondents, they will tell you. Something happened and the youths were fighting with the army. Some soldiers were attacked physically. Even when I came, some of them said, see my clothes, see what people did. So ask your correspondent, they'll tell you. So the governor, as chief security officer of the state, had that, and the distance is not far from government house. He drove down and addressed those people, like, people, you should be quiet. You should be calm. And there was calm from then. So you can see.
So it had nothing to do with INEC?
Nothing to do with INEC, no. And if you also see what President Goodluck Jonathan did by accepting the result, if he had not accepted a result, he will also agree with me that there would have been terrible violence in the country. So that kind of thing was what Governor Theodore displayed. So we thank God, and we also so grateful to God that he also gave us a good person as governor-elect today, Dr. Victor Kezi Ikpeazu, who is also a genius, who made his own PhD at the age of 30. He has been lecturer in several universities. He has worked in several places, several government offices, and he's going to give the best because apart from holding a PhD, he even accepted menial jobs, being a head of general manager of ASPIMS, Passenger Manifest Insurance Scheme. You can imagine that in the state. Thereafter, he went into ASEPA, Abia State Environmental Sanitation Protection Agency, not as general manager, but as deputy general manager. He brought himself low. Such a person with such a humble, background too, with that high IQ and exposure, is also definitely going to give Abia people the best.
Is that a promise? Is that a deal?
Yes, it's a deal.
We hope he's speaking to us, not you speaking on his behalf.
No, well, anytime you want him, he will come. But I am telling you, you see, just like you can talk about the dress he's putting on now because you're saying it. If you interact with somebody, you can feel him. You can talk about him. Just the way we can talk about people. So that is the person that we have today. And the Okwangwa people, if you look at the voting pattern, you discover that we were even supposed to have gotten more votes, if not for 1 or 2, 3 issues. If you look at the pattern, the Okwangwa people have longed for this position. And that's why they all came out and voted. And I'm also grateful.
And now they have it. I hope they use it well.
They will. And that's why I'm also grateful, not just to the Okwangwans, but I am grateful to all Abians from Okwa to Arochukwu that voted, that have come together to make this thing possible. And again, I thank God Almighty for making it possible. And I also thank
Dr.
Governor
Ambassador,
Theodoji
yes, we have to go.
for this wonderful gift he has given to the Kwangwa people.
Okay.
As now today, he is the father of equity in Abia State.
All right.
Okay. Well,
Dr.
we know
Ambassador.
you. If we continue, we'll never leave
You
here
will
today.
leave here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you,
really.
Coming all the way from Abia State
Thank you,
to speak with us.
Thank you, Mamodu.
And
Thank you.
Etokum
Thank you.
to take
Thank
back
you.
to Abia
Thank you.
State.
Thank you, Mamodu and Obiora.
I hope we have the opportunity to sit
Your governor.
your
governor.
governor-elect down where you are sitting.
Sure, he will
and
come.
hold him to account.
You know, he will come. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Well, that's it for today.
So we'll draw the curtain.
Like I said when we're starting, I mean, it's easy to be with us now. Go on the Apple Store or on the Google Play and download HBL News. You can watch all our programs, breaking news whenever they hit anywhere in the world, and then you can be part of the O&M family. I'm Obiorilo from Abuja in Nigeria. Thanks for joining us.
And of course, on Tuesday at 11 p.m., we will be back here. My name is Mahmoud Akuga. Bye for now.